Hello and welcome to Thursday Thoughts. Thursday Thoughts? What on earth are they, I hear you ask? Well, my friend Lucy and I meet every week over on Instagram to talk all things personal growth because she is as obsessed with it as I am. And we decided that we might as well put those conversations out as a weekly podcast. So now you can listen to us chat here on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And we'll be talking about topics such as spirituality, limiting beliefs, the ego, imposter syndrome, gratitude, meditation, confidence, and so much more. So, if you're ready, here we go.
We're talking today about a quote that I saw in somebody else's stories, and I posted it on my stories, which I don't do very often actually, but it was just a quote that resonated with me a lot, and we thought we could talk about it. So I'm going to read it out because I actually suddenly thought, shit, I'm not going to be able to look at the quote on my phone. So I wrote it on a sticky note.
You are so prepared. Well done.
I know. And it says, it's the smallest habits. How you spend your mornings, how you talk to yourself, what you read, what you watch, who you share your energy with, and who has access to you. These are the things that will change your life. And I just thought this was so kind of profound in its simplicity, really, because it really is so true that it is the very small habits that we can do every single day that are going to change our lives. And you and I both know that because we've been, over the last few years, been talking about these kinds of things a lot on Monday Motivation. We've been incorporating these things into our lives. So I thought we could kind of go through each one and, just talk briefly about it. So the first one is how you spend your mornings, which both you and I have talked about a lot on this, on our Monday Motivations, on our podcast, on Instagram. It's something both you and I have been really kind of doing for the last however many years, having a morning routine. And, so just start by saying that and I feel like this really is a drum that I've been banging for several years now, and you too, because it really is so key to how you feel for the rest of your day. And you and I have had a morning routine for quite some time, and I most certainly feel that it really has had such a hugely positive impact on my whole life. I used to be that girl, like I remember when I was working at Radio 2, and I would literally roll out of bed at the last second possible, always be in a hurry, never have time to do anything apart from basically get in the shower, get dressed, and go, and then grab breakfast on my way so that I was sat at my desk with my breakfast and a coffee just in time, when I needed to be at work. And I did that for years, like decades. And then I started a morning routine, and the difference in my life is just phenomenal. And actually, where I notice it the most is when I don't do it. The mornings where I don't do my morning routine, I always just feel a bit discombobulated. I just don't feel as calm. I don't feel as intentional. I just feel like I'm on the back foot. And I think that's the thing about morning routines is so many of us start our days off on the back foot, and we're whacking on the news whilst we'll go into that in a minute when we talk about what you read and what you watch. But yeah, so morning routines are the first, how you spend your mornings is the first point in this quote. So what would you say to that, Polly?
Yeah, so it's about starting your day with intention. It's about how do you want to move through your day. And I think it's just giving yourself that space to choose. We have a decision. We have a choice to make. Do we want to start our day on the back foot, rushed, stressed, constantly chasing our tail? Because if you're coming into the day with that sort of energy, it's going to follow you through the day. And the reason why when I started my morning routine was because I was teaching in a school. I had 3 small children. I had very, very little time to myself. The moment I start, and a lot of people have this, the moment you start your day, it just runs away with you. But when you're teaching, you literally haven't got a moment to yourself because you once the day starts and the kids are in, you're off until they go home, and then after school there's all the other things you've got going on, and then with your own small children. So it literally was for me an opportunity for myself to spend some time doing the things that I wanted to do. It started with exercise always, and then if I could, I kind of got in a little bit of sort of mindfulness as well. So it's just about giving yourself that space and that opportunity to choose who you want to be that day, how do you want to show up. And yet it has absolutely changed my life. And it's funny because I do see at the moment, particularly on Instagram, I've seen there's been a bit of a backlash against morning routines, in the sense that there are some people whose morning routines are absolutely full on ridiculous, if it, like, in terms, I don't know, there's a couple of people I've got coming to mind, whereas they are putting in so many things, like this real biohacking kind of stuff, where actually it's a bit like, well, that literally would take you all day to get that done. And I think so there has been, I am seeing a little bit of a backlash, but I think that the message is, it doesn't have to be hours and hours long. It really is just about carving some space and time for you to just pause and breathe and be intentional about the energy you want to bring, so you're not chasing your tail. And it doesn't have to be hours. You can craft it however you want. So it's like everything, isn't it? It's about not, you don't have to get up at 5 a.m. if you don't want to, but maybe get up a little bit earlier than you normally would, so that you have a little bit more time. So everyone is different and everyone will find their way of doing it, but it really is such a great way just to start in the way that, with it, for me, it's just starting in a way with calmness, and that I'm not chasing my tail. I know that if I sleep in, if I then am kind of rushing to get things done, then I feel anxious straight away. And that's not what I want to be doing. I want to feel calm. I want to feel in a good space. And that just ripples throughout the day.
So much so. And it's so true. I hate that feeling of, that horrible rushing anxious feeling, which used to be that was my morning, like that. It used to be such a familiar feeling to me, and I hate it now. I actually hate it. So morning, how you spend your mornings is the first one from this quote. So the second one is how you talk to yourself, and I think this is a real biggie, actually. And I mean, whoever you are, if you are a human being, you will say shit to yourself on a regular basis. Even when you've got it under control and you're very aware of it, you will still say shit to yourself on a regular basis. You will still be mean to yourself regularly. I do it, you do it, we all do it. But for my own part, I used to do this a lot. And I didn't even realize, but there was a constant negative commentary running through my brain at all times, having a go at myself, basically. And it's a cliche to say it, but you have to talk to yourself like you are your best friend, because you kind of are. You know what I mean? Or you should be. And this is something that I've worked on a lot over the last few years. And it's, it's all to do with the literal reprogramming, rewiring of your brain. Because when you stop doing that, or when you lessen that and you start doing the opposite of that, which is being kind to yourself and being compassionate with yourself, it doesn't mean that the negative shite doesn't still happen, because it certainly does for me. But what I've noticed about myself is that now I will notice when I go, oh, you fucking idiot, you know what I mean? And I'll go, no, you're not. Do you know what I mean? I'll call myself out. And now I've even started doing things like, if I do something good or something that I'm proud of, I will say to myself, you are awesome. Well freaking done. And it's not about being arrogant or bigging yourself up, but also we have this obsession, I think, particularly women. It's like, if you are seen to in any way big yourself up, or praise yourself in any way, there's this thing of, oh my God, she's so arrogant, or oh my God, who does she think she is? And it's such a load of bollocks. We've got to stop that. It's not about that. It's not an ego thing. It's just understanding that it's incredibly important that you are kind to yourself, and that you literally do talk to yourself in the way that you would talk to your best friend or somebody else that you love. So that is the second one. How do you talk to yourself? Because the way that you talk to yourself genuinely will change your life. It
Yeah.
really will. And also the way that you talk to yourself impacts the actions that you take, the things that you do, and the life that you subsequently see before you. So it's not small, this, it's important.
Yeah, and it takes practice. It takes
Yeah.
it takes awareness. How are you talking to yourself? See, first of all, you've got to have that awareness. What are the stories? What is it that you're actually saying to yourself? And then just taking some time to, as you say nice things to yourself. Because with other people, I make a real effort. If something pops into my head, so I say, like, oh, you look nice, or oh, I love that, or oh my gosh, I love the way you did that. I really make an effort to say that out loud. If I think it's something nice, I say it. And so I'm trying to do that with myself now. Is like if I look in the mirror and I think, oh gosh, actually, you look quite nice today, I'll kind of suddenly go, oh yes, yes, you do. And it's kind of almost trying to not just brush it off, but actually really feel it. It's really hard because for most of us, we're not used to that.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. If you've done a good job with something, rather than just brush it off, or if someone says, "Oh, you did a great job," just say, "Yeah." Just take a moment and just go, actually, yeah, I did. We're so quick to brush any compliment off from someone else. And so particularly from ourselves. So really it's an invitation to just go, did I do a good job? Yes, I did. Don't brush these off. It's about really letting them land. And the more you do it, kind of the better you get at receiving it. It's about receiving
Yeah.
kindness to yourself. And that's what a lot of us are not very good at. So, and I think a good place to start is when somebody says something to you kind, don't brush it off. Just say, thank you. Yes, thank you. And when you can start doing that, then you can start doing it to yourself even a little bit more easily as well. Like, gosh, yeah, I look good today, or yes, I did a really great job, or and I know, and there's always going to be times when we don't think we've done a good job, and yeah, but that's fair enough. But it's about receiving, and that's what we've all got to get better at.
Totally. And you're so right. Taking compliments is the best way to start with this. It really is. And because, like you say, we all do it. We just brush them off. It's like, oh, you look really nice. Oh, really? Do I? Oh God, no, I don't look like shit. Oh, I love your dress. Oh, you mean this thing that I got 15 years ago? Really?
Mm.
Well, it's not all that. And you're so right. It is about, it's amazing how much not being able to receive compliments can impact what else we can't receive, abundance, money, whatever it is. So actually that's a really good thing to practice. And all you
Yeah.
have to do is say thank you. You don't have to say anything else. Because also the thing about compliments is that when somebody gives you a compliment, when you brush it off, it makes them feel bad because they're trying to give
Mm.
you a fucking compliment. So just take it, because also, it's reciprocal, and how you take it or don't affects them. Like if somebody gives you a really nice compliment and you completely brush it off, it kind of makes them feel a bit awkward and weird. And it's just, such a much nicer exchange if both of you you just say thank you. So yeah,
Yeah.
that is a really good place to start. Now, the next couple in this quote are what you read and what you watch, and this is just so huge. I just cannot bang on about this enough. And I think, particularly in the world at the moment, there is so much bad stuff going on that it would be very easy to go, oh my God, the world's just such a load of shit. The world is going to hell in a handbasket. Everybody's awful. It's a dog eat dog world, blah, 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 blah. If you are consuming too much news, that is going to have a negative impact on your life. And not saying in any way, shape, or form that we shouldn't know what's going on. Of course we should. I know what's going on, but I don't read or watch the news every single day ad nauseam multiple times. Like I never ever listen to the news in the morning. In fact, I rarely actually listen to the news. I don't watch TV. I don't have a TV, and so I kind of keep myself informed by either through people telling me stuff or by having a quick look online. But the point is that I think we spend far too much time taking in negative content, and what that does is it affects, it impacts the whole way that you look at the world. It's like if a guy is sitting on his phone watching Andrew Tate reels, that is going to impact the way that he looks at the world, the way that he looks at women, the way that he thinks, the things that he does. We have to understand that the content that we are consuming, what we watch, what we read, is massive, and it is hugely impacting our lives and the way that we feel about ourselves, the way that we feel about the world. Because the truth is that there is just as much beauty out there as there is shite. There is just as much good stuff going on as there is bad stuff going on. There are just as many kind, lovely people out there as there are evil, awful people. You get what you expect. You find what you look for. So if you are, if you're tuning into the news 24/7, that is what you're going to find. That is going to impact how you feel. Where if you're out for a walk in nature going, oh my God, look how incredible that swan is on the river, that is what is going to feed your mind, and that is going to impact how you feel. This is just, I literally cannot say enough about this because it's so important. And I think we don't realize, because we're not necessarily aware, we're not necessarily being mindful of our consumption, of what we're reading, what we're watching. So when we're not aware, we're just on autopilot, and it's just impacting ourselves and the way that we see the world and how we think so much more than we realize.
A very quick break to ask you to hit the follow or subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you're enjoying this episode, I'd be super grateful if you could hit those stars and rate it too. Thank you.
Yeah. So I would invite anyone to do a bit of an audit and just have a look at how much time are you spending on negative content or on positive content, because as you say, it's how it makes you, how does it make you feel after you've consumed the news or a podcast, or how are you wanting to feel? If it's making you feel uplifted and joyful, great. If it's making you feel really worried, a little bit anxious about everything that's going on, then actually maybe it's time to turn it off. And I think a lot of us have been brought up to believe that we need to know exactly what's going on. And I know exactly what's going on, but I don't, as like you, consume it hugely. I have a good idea. Some people I know are, my husband is a news junkie, but he needs to know what's going on globally for his job. But he has a very good way of detaching from it. So you've got to be able to, if you do need to consume it and know what's going on, it's are you able to put boundaries in place that you are able to detach from it and see it, for what it is? Because I think that's something you can do. Some people are probably better at doing that than other people. I get very, very upset when I see these terrible images on screen, and it's not that I don't care, but I find it really upsetting. So I don't want to be watching that all the time, because unless I'm actually going to go and physically do something right now to help, what else can I do? It's, doesn't mean that I don't care. I can donate and I can do all these other things. So yeah, it's just being really mindful. And there's nothing better as well sometimes with putting on something really uplifting, a really positive podcast. I constantly am loving to keep learning new stuff. So again, it's just choosing what you are listening to, whether it's music, podcasts, books, whatever, in a very carefully curated way. Don't just let it seep into you in a way that is not in your control.
Yeah, and because it really does come back down to how you are feeling most of the time is what you are attracting more of into your life. There's probably some people rolling their eyes right now, but if you think about it from a, from a spiritual sense, from a kind of a, how important, our thoughts and our feelings are, because we're energetic beings. You and I have talked about this before. We're more than 99% energy. What we are putting out, the energy that we're putting out into the world, is having an impact on what we're drawing back into our lives. And if you're watching and listening to stuff that is making you feel angry, frustrated, worried, all of these things, if you're feeling those kinds of emotions most of the time, actually what you're doing is drawing more stuff into your reality that is going to make you feel bad. And also one thing that we did, I think we did a whole Monday motivation on this particular quote. One of my favorite quotes is, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive, and go do that, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. And actually, like you said, I think in this country or in the world, like the way we grow up, we're sort of taught that we have to know everything that's going on in the news, and it's really important. And actually, why do we have to know everything that is going on in the news? Why? How is that serving us? Like you said, unless you're going to get on a fucking plane and do something, just knowing every single thing isn't necessarily helping anyone, let alone yourself. But actually, what is going to help the world, if that's what, all of us hopefully want to do, the best way that any of us can help the goddamn world is to go inwards and look at how we're feeling. Because the better we feel, the more we are putting that energy out to the people around us, and we are uplifting the people around us. And that right there is what is actually going to improve the world. Not listening to the news 24/7 and listening to stuff that makes you feel bad so that you feel bad, etc., etc. It's like this, I really feel, in case you can't tell, I really do feel passionate about this because I think it's important, and I don't think we think about it enough. And like you say, it's down to what you are reading and watching and consuming is impacting how you feel. So how do you want to feel?
Yeah.
Well, is it helping?
In fact, to on your point of like energy and how what we're putting out and what we're consuming and feeling good, I've just spent 3 days, 3 nights in a field with a lot of wonderful people, full of love, dancing, having joyous. And whilst I was doing that, I have just had the highest listener downloads of my podcast. I've had 2 queries to come and work with me. I've had more people sign up for one of my freebies. Well, and I'm convinced of it because I was just letting go, having fun, feeling good. And suddenly all these, my business is working for me behind the scenes because I'm probably doing, I do think it's because I'm not pushing. I'm letting it all happen. And it all is part of it. We have to sort of let go and just feel good, feel good. And it, obviously a lot of that has come from putting things in place, but a lot of it is to do with the energy that I'm putting out in the world.
Yeah, totally.
So,
Totally. Well, the last couple of this are, the last couple of small habits rather are who you share your energy with and who has access to you. And this is very similar to, what you watch and what you read. It's about who are you allowing access to you? Are you spending a lot of time, like potentially, do you have a partner who is very, very negative and who is constantly moaning and complaining and finding the bad all the time? How can you, I don't know what you can do about if you have a partner like that. I mean, yeah, but when it comes to friends and who you spend time with is also impacting the way that you think, the way that you feel, the actions that you take, what your life looks like. And I think it's really worth taking a look at, or just having a think about, are you spending time with anyone who is incredibly negative and bringing you down? Like, ask yourself, how do you feel in your body when you spent time with someone? This is such a simple question: how do you feel after you've spent time with someone? Either you feel uplifted and energized, or you feel down and, not particularly great about yourself. And I think, again, it's one of those things that we just don't take the time to really think about unless we are aware and we start thinking about it. So, I've become really boundaried about who I spend time with. I don't, I used to spend time with people where that, and I'm not saying I wasn't like this either, but there was always some kind of drama or, gossiping or all of these things. And I'm really mindful these days to try and remove myself from those people and those situations. I just don't want it in my head anymore. I just don't want that in my life,
Yeah.
And I think if we're honest, I don't think any of us really do, because ultimately
No.
we want to feel peaceful. We want to feel good. And the people we're surrounding ourselves with are impacting that 100%. So it's about minimizing the time with people who bring you down if you have to be around them,
Yeah. And also the one with about thinking about who has access to you. So are you on all the time? And these, in the past, we would have gone to work, we would have come home, and then we would be off. And these days we are on all the time. People can contact you all the time.
Yeah.
We can find out stuff all the time. So again, it's like, is that making you feel good, or is that actually bringing you down? And how boundaried are you with social media, with your emails? Do you check your emails in certain kind of time, at certain times, or do you just constantly look at them? I know that if I answer a message or an email, if I read an email or a message, I've got to respond to it. Otherwise, I'm never going to respond to it because it will just kind of pass me by. So it's kind of, I really do try and just sort of have certain times where I'm kind of like, right, this is when I'm going to look at these messages, because otherwise it's just exhausting. You're constantly on and people have access to you. And sometimes I quite like just going, no, I'm not here. I don't want anyone to get in touch, to read any messages. So again, it's what works for you. You've got to find out what works for you. Is it stressing you out that you've got like a million WhatsApp messages and a million emails to answer? If it is, then just give yourself a certain time limit of how long you're going to spend reading them. So yeah.
Yeah. No, very good point. Well made. Well, it's 29 minutes past and we've pretty much come to the end. But should I just read this quote out one more time before we wrap up?
Yes.
So it goes like this: it's the smallest habits, how you spend your mornings, how you talk to yourself, what you read, what you watch, who you share your energy with, and who has access to you. These are the things that will change your goddamn life. Doesn't say goddamn, but I added that. So
Perfect. Oh, well, yeah, I hope this has been helpful. And yeah, just something else to be mindful of, to be aware of.
exactly. And by the way, I've just remembered that I can't do next Monday, so we'll have to, you and I'll rearrange maybe next
Okay,
Tuesday again.
perfect.
But I'll email you or call you.
All
All right.
right.
Have a great
Okay.
day.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Take
Lots of love,
care.
guys.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.